Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an important guest this morning. I say important guest, but all of my guests on Community Forum are important, but this is a special guest, Rita Mayfield, State Representative, District 60. Good morning, Rita.
Good morning.
We're very happy that you've taken time from your busy schedule, and we've had you in the studio, and now we've got you, took you away from your busy schedule in Springfield to spend a little time with us to let Lake County know. Just give us an update on what is happening in Springfield.
Well, we're in what's called the bill filing process right now. This is where everybody is taking all their ideas, all their conversations with their constituents, and they're drafting bills, and they are filing them, getting them ready to be presented in committee. Now, we've got the governor's budget address coming up this week, which is really important because this is where the governor lays out his spending plan for the state that says where he feels the priorities for spending should be. We then take that information, go back into our appropriations committees, and then we massage those numbers. You know, we have the community members will come in and say, you know what, we agree or disagree with the governor's number, and this is why. A lot of times there's a disagreement because they feel that they need more money, but we always ask them to justify, the money that they've currently gotten. What did they do with it? Did they spend it as they had told us they were going to do the previous year? How much money is still left over? Because if you're asking for more money, but yet you still haven't spent what you already got, chances are we're not going to give you anything extra.
Right.
So, we just want to know what are you going to do with the money, because this is not free money, it's taxpayer money. So we have a responsibility to be as responsible as we can with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Rita Mayfield, and she's going to tell us, Rita, give us a little background. What piqued your interest in politics, and how did you get to Springfield?
Well, I joined a community group. I was having some issues with my son. He was in middle school at the time. He just simply was not progressing. He was failing. And when I went and talked to the teachers, he's got a report card, pretty much all F's. And I'm like, okay, he needs to be held back because obviously he didn't learn, he's not understanding the material. And they said, no, he came to class every day. He absorbed enough information to move to the next grade. I'm like, excuse me, what do you mean he absorbed enough? If he got a straight F in everything except for lunch, how did he absorb enough, to excel to the next grade? So I had a problem with that. I spoke to the teachers. I talked to the principal. I even went to the school board, and I said, this is not right. You cannot pass my child forward if he doesn't have the tools he needs to succeed. And they were adamant about passing him. So I'm like, wait a minute. If they're doing this to my child, imagine how many other kids they're passing forward, unprepared. So myself and some other concerned parents, we all got together, founded a community organization, Citizens Organized for School Leadership Accountability. And we started going to the school board meetings. We started making demands, for education, for fiscal responsibility within the school district. That led me to running for school board, which I was elected. I was elected, and my first term as school board member, I was actually the vice president. So I went in as the vice president of the school board because I was extremely vocal and had no problem fighting for our kids and their education, because I truly believe, even to this day, that every child deserves a quality education. So that, I was on the school board. My predecessor, Eddie Washington, he passed away in office, and I was like, okay, well, somebody said you should apply for that. I'm like, but I'm fighting for kids right here. I think I'm doing a great job. They're like, but you can do a little bit more at the next level. So I went ahead. I applied for the position. I said, okay, if nothing else, it'll give me the experience of applying for a higher position. Who knows what I might do down the road. 20 people applied. I was the last one interviewed, outlined. I'm like, look, this is where I'm at. I outlaid my plan as far as what I wanted to do, and it was pretty much all education focused. I want to make sure that I'm positively impacting our children, educationally and throughout the community. They gave me the position. They said, okay, we're going to give you a chance. And that's how I became a state representative.
This is fantastic. Well, it seems like schools and students are your priority. No doubt about it, right?
They are definitely my number one priority. You know, our district is so diverse. We have a lot of issues, but education is at the heart of every district. If you do not have a prospering educational system, everything else fails around you. The businesses fail, the homeowners, you know, their property values fall. So everything is tied to that education system. And it is so important that we are making sure that we have a quality education opportunities for our children.
Well, tell us about your district. What is it composed of?
Okay,
The
Waukegan,
size, yeah.
primarily it's most of Waukegan, most of North Chicago, with parts of Beach Park, Gurnee, Wadsworth, and a very small part of Park City.
Okay. Now
Very diverse.
we mentioned school and students, but a couple other things. Creating good jobs is what you're interested in too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you get the education, you have to have a job to go into after you graduate. So, you know, that's what I'm saying, it all falls hand in hand. And we've worked with a lot of the local businesses around here. You know, you always want to ask the business, you know, what are your needs? We did 2 very successful pre-engineering classes at the College of Lake County, where everybody in those classes walked out of there, you know, with 50,000 plus jobs, you know, with a certificate. So, you know, anytime you can do that, you've done something good for the community. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build, you know, this basis for the people in our community so that they can be successful, so that they can thrive. Everybody gets a piece of that American pie. You know, we want everybody to have their own home. We want everybody to, you know, to be able to have, you know, a chicken in the pot? Is that how the saying goes? You know, and a roof over their head. So we want that. And that's one of the things that I'm pushing for.
And another thing is the maintaining industry in Lake County too, right? Because we have a lot of industry going to Wisconsin.
Going to Wisconsin, they're saying that, you know, that we just do not have the skilled work set that they're looking for. You know, so there's just a lot of things. You know, I know a lot of people get upset when you offer a tax credit to a business to stay, but that tax credit that we're offering, when they go over to Wisconsin, they're not paying any taxes. So they're getting way more than what we're offering because they're not paying taxes on the land. They're getting all types of tax incentive programs. So, you know, we need to be competitive to keep the businesses as well.
So that education ties. Yeah, education ties right into it, right?
Education ties right in there because, you know, again, like I said, we're asking them, you know, what are the skill sets that you need to make sure that we're communicating that with our local community college to say, are you offering these classes? You know, we've reached out to the manufacturers. They say they need A, B, C, D, and E. Are these the classes that you're offering? Because if you're not, then they're going to take their jobs and they're going to go where they can get the workers. Because not everybody wants to cross that state line to come to Waukegan to get a job, or vice versa. So, you know, people go where the jobs are.
Rita, you mentioned District 60, and you gave us a composition there, but each one of the cities in District 60, they have the same basic needs, right? You mentioned
everybody has the same basic needs. You know, it doesn't matter if you're in Gurnee or North Chicago. You know, we need to make sure that we are providing dollars in the classroom instruction dollars, you know, giving our teachers all the resources that they need so that they can be successful in providing instruction to our students. That's important. It is very important. A lot of times, you know, we make the teachers out to be the bad guy. The teachers are the true heroes because if you've ever been in a classroom, that is not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. And we need to make sure that our teachers have every resource possible so that they can do what they need to do so that our children can be successful. A lot of our children, you know, and again, it doesn't matter if you're in Gurnee, Wadsworth, or North Chicago or Waukegan, a lot of our children have issues that they're going through at home. Some of them are dealing with homelessness. Some of them are dealing with alcoholic parents or violence in the home. So those children, they need counseling. They need what we call wraparound services. So we want to make sure that we are providing those to them. You know, we're trying to do these things. We're trying to scale up our schools and to create an equity model,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that, the dollars that are coming from the state are distributed not equally, but equitably, depending on the type of services that are needed in the district. So that means that, we want to make sure we're putting money in North Chicago to address all of the issues that they have there, which may not be the same issues that they're having in, say, like a Gurnee or a Wadsworth area.
Boy, if we had parents in District 60 to support our schools and students like you did, boy, we would have a very successful district.
Well, and I agree with that. Parent intervention, parent being there is real important.
Mm-hmm.
That parent engagement piece. But a lot of our parents are working 2 jobs.
Okay.
And it's very difficult. Even with the organization, that we had founded, some of those parents, we would switch it. I'll go on this day if you can go on that day.
Yeah.
It was very difficult, but we made a concerted effort that we were going to make sure our children got an education. So, yeah, parents do need to be more involved. Even if you can't attend every single meeting, your voice can still be heard.
Mm-hmm.
There's still so much that can be done. So I agree, yes.
That
The
means
more parent engagement we have, the better our schools become.
yeah, whether you have schools in the system or not, you have had in the past students in the school. So if you don't have any
Yes.
now, it's still important for you to get involved. Right?
It's important because that's 78.9% of your tax bill goes to the schools.
Wow.
It's a large number. So if you're
Yeah.
paying that much for a school district, and that school district has a direct effect on your taxes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you kind of want to know that you're getting every bang for your buck possible.
Right. Yeah. Another factor in the district, protecting our environment. Now, this is very important too, right? Of course, they all are equally important. But tell us about how important it is to protect.
We've had environmental issues since before I was born, and
Okay.
along that lakefront. Back when my mom was working at OMC Johnson Motors,
Okay.
you had John's Manville plant next to that with the asbestos and the people who were having cancer from that. So we've always had an environmental issue here that it just seems like we're always behind the 8 ball when it comes to addressing these issues, because it's hard to get engagement. It's hard to get people that work in these plants to stand up and say, hey, there's a problem, because of fear of job loss. So you're trying to balance the environmental impact and then the sustainability of a job, because if you close that plant down and then you have people that are out of work, it's a darned if you do, darned if you don't type of situation. But then the question becomes, what's more important? Obviously, clean air, clean water. So but trying to get that across to people. So, they closed down John Mansville. Johnson Motors closed down. They've done some remediation, but John's Manville, that's a huge Superfund site. It's going to take years to clean that up. We've got an active coal plant that Clean Power Lake County has been working for a few years on trying to close that down in partnership with the Sierra Club. So there's some issues there. There was a really good bill that passed, Senate Bill 9, that dealt with the ash ponds, because that ash is getting into our lake water, contaminating our fish. And for those of you that live in the Waukegan, North Chicago area, you know that we filter that water and we use it for some of our drinking water as well. So we're pulling in water from the lake. So we want to make sure that we're getting clean water. So we have some issues with that, but we have an opportunity to write the rules on how those coal ponds are going to be regulated. And we had, I believe, 2 listening sessions for that, where the Illinois EPA came down. They heard from the people, what we were expecting. Part of that, now we're asking for, there's a bill out there, the Clean Energy Jobs Act, which is so important that we passed. It gets us to a renewable future, meaning that we're going to have, it puts us on the path to clean energy. Making sure that we're renewing our resources. You cut down a tree, you replant a tree. Things that you would think are common sense but are not. Moving us more away from gasoline and toward electric vehicles. Wind power, solar power. It really puts us on that path. It's a great bill. But what's in there, and what this is right here, was really critical to our district, is that there are transition dollars in there. As we know, when ComEd closed their nuclear plant in Zion, what they left was unusable land. That land it's just a mess. That is unusable quality prime property that had they transitioned it properly, they could have put something else there, for the city, for the people. We don't want that in Waukegan. We don't want land that we can't reuse. We've already got Johns Manville there. That's this huge, super fun site that's going to take forever, to make it, if ever, that it can come back up and be a good reusable source of land. We don't want that at the coal plant. We want that land, can we put a park there? Can we put a museum there? What can we do with this land? And the Clean Energy Jobs Act actually gives us transition dollars to do that. We've also got the issue with ethylene oxide. The Illinois EPA came out and said that ethylene oxide was a Class 1 carcinogen, meaning that there's no safe level to breathe. It will kill you. You will get cancer. It will kill you, that kind of thing. But the issue is that they never set a threshold to say that this right here, this amount of ethylene oxide in the air is acceptable versus this amount. So we're trying to basically we're creating our own threshold for the ethylene oxides that are in our air. Two bills passed, 1852 and 1854, that set a threshold. Medline was unable to meet that threshold. They closed their doors in December, which gave the health department an opportunity to monitor background levels of ethylene oxide, because ethylene oxide occurs through a lot of different things, not just through the manufacturing aspect, but through vehicles, through the human body. So that it's out there in the atmosphere, but at what level we were not able to determine. So by them closing down, we were able to get a background level so that when they open back up, and I believe they opened up last week, and they're going to start processing again, the health department can then say, okay, when you were closed, your levels were here. Now that you've reopened, your levels are at this point, and then they can determine whether or not that is an acceptable level or not, and if they need to close again, or if they need to do something, or if they can continue to operate. But now what we're concerned about is how, continuing monitoring, and I think we need to put some measures in place to make sure that we're not just monitoring, for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, but as long as that company is open, we are doing continuous monitoring, and that there are steps in place should they go out of compliance with whatever the level is that we set for them. So there's still work to be done on ethylene oxide. That is not going to go away. There's a legal forum coming up at the Milan, I believe on the 22nd, that is going to deal with the legal aspect. Those people who believe that they may have been have one form of lymphomia or another because they live within proximity. And it's not just Medline, it's Vantage as well. Vantage is right next to a school. And we know that from their testing that their numbers are still high. And they're right next to a school. We know that children are more susceptible to ethylene oxide poisoning, than adults. So we want to be careful, and we want to make sure that we are following through, not just raising a ruckus and saying, hey, this is in the air, we're being exposed, but that we're taking proactive steps to address it.
Thank you very much, Rita. Is there a typical day for you in Springfield?
Yes. I guess there is a typical day. You get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. You have meetings. Then you go into committee. After committee, you go to session. After session, you go to committee. After committee, you have more meetings. And then it's just a never-ending cycle. But it's a good 12-hour day pretty much every day while you're in session. It's a 12-hour day.
Okay, we can go on and on. I would like to touch upon healthcare affordability, but we need another part two for that. I want you to talk about our free tuition programs. Now, I can address that because I was the first African American to graduate from East St. Louis Senior High School when the school districts became integrated, and I received an academic scholarship to Illinois State because I could have gone to any one of the state schools. But it was a free tuitions, and the tuition was only $40 a semester. Because that's unheard of now, But that was a free tour. Now, I think they had stopped. They discontinued that for a while, but I think you have reinstated the free tuition programs now?
Not all of them. So what we did, we've got a couple different things going. At the College of Lake County, we have a $1.5 million grant from the state that provides free vocational training
Okay.
to students, and they can get certificates in administrative management, automotive, collision repair, heating and air conditioning, truck driving, nursing assistance, healthcare assistance, phlebotomy, and a few more. And if they're interested in that, they just need to live primarily focus is going to be on Waukegan, North Chicago, Round Lake, Zion, but other students outside of those areas can apply. But we wanted to focus on our high minority districts first, and because they're the ones who are having the most difficulty with access to educational programs because of an inability to pay for them. So this gives them 100% free tuition. It does provide daycare assistance if needed and transportation assistance. So if they're interested, they just go to clc.edu. I'm sorry, clcillinois.edu/TLC, or they can call Ashley Ward at 847-543-2390, and that is for the College of Lake County for free vocational programs. Now, what we also have here in pretty much throughout the entire state, but definitely here in the Waukegan, North Chicago area, is a lack of minority teachers.
Okay.
So the next program, Grow Your Own, we want teachers that look like our children, so that someone that they can relate to and that can understand maybe some of the additional barriers that they're having at home, some of their struggles, and be able to work with them. So whether, we're looking at African-American teachers, bilingual teachers, Asian teachers, we need more minority teachers, period. Grow Your Own provides 4 years of free tuition to become a teacher. So think about that. And it starts, what we've done is we've partnered with Waukegan School District, and we're going to probably be partnering with the Gurnee School District as well. So students can start going to school to become a teacher as early as their junior year. They would graduate with dual credits, and then they can take those and apply those to their college degree and just go, it doesn't take them as long to finish. So you can get your teaching degree within 2 years of graduating high school. And those are pretty good salaries for, somebody fresh out of school. You start off as a teacher, depending on where you are, $45,000. That's a really good start for someone coming straight out of school and straight out, and that's a guaranteed job. And we need bilingual teachers throughout the entire state. We need African-American teachers all throughout, this northeastern quadrant, definitely all throughout Chicago. So there's a great need. And this is an excellent program. Again, 4 years of free tuition. If you want to become a teacher, just call 772-322-7419, or you can go to growyourown.com. Just look it up on Google it, Grow Your Own, GYO. It is an excellent program. And then the final program, and this right here is just for everyone, all disciplines, regardless of what you want to go to school for, through the University of Chicago. And it is for low-income students. If your family household income is less than $125,000, you can go to college for free. If you make less than $60,000, if your household income is less than $60,000, not only do you get free college tuition, you also get free housing down there, which is really, really huge because housing in Chicago is extremely expensive.
Right.
So this is a great program. And it's for anything. So whether you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, if you want to go to become a teacher there, if you want to become a social worker, a psychologist, whatever discipline you're interested in, you can go to college for free at the University of Illinois. And you just go to their website. It's college admissions at the University of Chicago.edu. The phone number is 773-702-8650. And again, you can contact my office. They can contact you because I did send you the information sheet. We want to share this information with as many people in the district as possible. We don't want an inability to pay for college to be a barrier for anyone who wants to go to college. And I also want to throw out there that this program is for dreamers as well. Our DACA students, they can have access to all of these programs. We are not excluding anyone. We want everyone to go to college, and we want them to be successful.
And when I received the information from you, I blasted it on my list of so that everyone on my list could be aware of it. And I have gotten good
Absolutely.
response even from all over the state. My friends have acknowledged that they had received the information and they were proud to get it. You also,
Right.
I think I mentioned I'm from East St. Louis, but you have someone from East St. Louis working with you, right? Is she your assistant or chairman?
No, she's my vice chair for the House Appropriations K through 12 committee. Her name
Ah,
is Representative Latoya Greenwood, and she's from the
yes.
East St. Louis area.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of the same issues that we have in North Chicago. So we're definitely fighting together, for increased funding. That's one of the bills that we will be pushing through is to provide additional funding for North Chicago into their base level of funding. Because what they're having to do is, there's a teacher shortage in North Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And without guaranteed funding, without knowing that you're going to receive X number of dollars every year, it's hard to retain your teachers. You want to be able to guarantee your teacher a job in the next semester, particularly if they're a good teacher. You want to be able to say, you know what, we know we're going to have this funding. We would like you to stay on. Because otherwise, if you have to pink slip your teachers every spring with the hope of calling them back, by the time fall comes, most of them have found jobs elsewhere.
Okay.
And that's how you lose really good teachers. That's how you lose good talent. And we don't want that. We want to have stability in North Chicago. And that's great for our kids, too, to be able to say, you know what, I had this teacher, I had that teacher,
Right.
from one year to the next, as their siblings are coming through, and not just a different teacher teaching that class every year.
It makes a big difference on male teachers, too. We just don't have enough male teachers in our
We
schools,
do not.
right?
We need our male teachers. We need those male role models. It makes all the difference in the world for our young men to see male teachers in that, to see that, to have that role model.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy, this is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Rita Mayfield, State Representative, District 60, and we've been overwhelmed by the information that she has promulgated to you. We use the word promulgated in the Navy, but information that's been distributed all over, and everyone is, to make everyone aware. I mean, it doesn't matter whether they're black or white, brown, blue, purple, what have you. The programs are available to you.
They are for everyone in the community. That's absolutely right.
So we just hope that we can just keep you for years and years to come to continue taking care of your. Lake County is approximately 750 to 800,000 people, but I don't know how many up 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listen to the program, but they have missed a real treat. And I will MP3 this to you is about an hour after we finish the program. And be safe and have a safe trip back to this area. And actually, you
thank you so much.
You're there from what, Monday through Thursday?
Pretty much, yeah. That's
Yeah,
my week.
right. So we're happy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to another awareness session on Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.